Hi everyone, my name's James and I work as a happiness engineer at WordPress.com. Today, we're going to walk you through installing WooCommerce and the basics of setting up a store. Let's get started. WooCommerce is a plugin created to convert your site into a complete e-commerce platform. It's developed and supported by Automatic, the same company that owns and operates WordPress.com, so you can be sure the two will work seamlessly together. By default, WooCommerce comes with everything you need to create, sell, and manage products. But there are a lot of extensions to add even more functionality to your site as well. To get started with WooCommerce at WordPress.com, you'll need to have either the business or our e-commerce plan. The business plan allows you to add plugins to your site, and you can install WooCommerce like any other plugin. Our e-commerce plan has WooCommerce along with many other useful extensions installed by default to both save you money and make your store easier to set up. Let's start by actually installing WooCommerce on a site to see what that process looks like. We're here now on the WordPress.com dashboard, and I have a very simple site set up on the business plan. I've just added a home page, about page, and a contact page, and nothing else. We currently have no other plugins installed outside of the default plugins that come with the WordPress.com business plan. And you can see that WooCommerce isn't installed yet, but on the business plan, if you have any plugins installed or you've activated backups, the WooCommerce link is going to appear here in the left-hand sidebar. So to activate WooCommerce, we can just press the Set Up My Store button here, and that will install the plugin in the background. So I'm going to click that, and we'll come back once that's finished installing. Okay, so WooCommerce has finished installing, and the Setup Wizard now has popped up on my screen. The Setup Wizard will help us to add some core WooCommerce pages and also to configure some settings on our store. So we can just go through this together now. It's asking for the address of our shop. So I'm just going to add in a fake address from San Francisco. This is in the United States. California, we've got San Francisco, and our postal code can go in there. Okay. And we can just go through this step by step. We're going to be setting up a coffee bean store, so we can select food and drink. We're only going to be selling physical products and downloads for the moment. If you wanted to add subscriptions and memberships and bookings, this would help you to automatically install those extensions as well. You can come back and install those extensions at a later date too. So we're just going to select those two right now to keep this easy. We are going to only be selling a few products, and we don't currently sell anywhere else. This is just starting in our store. We can include recommended business features. This will automatically install some other plugins if we want. So we can see all of the things that will be installed if we have that selected. I'm just going to say yes. A lot of these are really helpful when we're just starting up a store. So that's going to be installing a lot of these plugins in the background here. And now we can select our theme. You can use any theme with WooCommerce. When you install WooCommerce, you have access to the storefront theme, which was designed and created and maintained by WooCommerce. And this is really great because it's made especially for WooCommerce. So I'm going to select that, and now that theme is going to be applied to my store. So we should be all finished now with the Setup Wizard, and you can see now that we have a couple more plugins that have been installed, and we now have the WooCommerce dashboard that's appeared here. We can look at our pages, and we now have a couple more pages that have been added. We have a cart, a checkout, my account page, and a shop page, and those have all been set in WooCommerce. So the Setup Wizard has done a lot of the back-end work that you'd normally need to do to set up your store. By default, there's 4 product types that you can add to a WooCommerce store. We'll go through setting up simple and variable products today, and I invite you to visit WooCommerce.com to learn more about grouped and affiliate product types. The setup wizard has helped us to add in some store details, and now we can move on to adding in our first product. I'm on the WooCommerce dashboard, so we have a list of tasks we still need to complete, but if you'd want to add in a product later on as well, you can hover over products and select the add new option. I'm going to click on the option here and select the add manually option. This will bring us to the product editor, and we're going to first want to give our product a name. We're creating a coffee store, so let's add some Brazilian beans, and now I'm going to add a description as well for that product. We're going to create a simple product to begin with, so we'll need to give it a price. That's very important. I'm going to enter in $10 there, and we'll want to give it a product image as well. I've already uploaded a few to the media library, so I'll just use these. For a simple product, those are the only options that need to be selected. You need to have a title and you need to have a price. There are more things that you will potentially want to add in. For example, you can control inventory. If I enable stock management, we can have stock quantities and back orders, and we can control those settings. Also, shipping, if you want to have an extension that calculates rates automatically, adding in the weight and the dimensions of the product is very important. Let's leave it now as just a simple product, and let's publish this to see what it looks like on our site. I can click on the permalink here to open it up to see what it will look like on the front end of our site. So you can see we have the product image, we have the description, and we have the price here, and we could add that to our cart. Let's move on now to explore what a variable product would look like. So let's change this now to be a variable product. What this allows us to do is give the user a few options that they can select when they're wanting to buy this product. So you can see that now we have something that is called attributes here. I'm going to want to add in a custom attribute, and we're going to allow the customer to select different weights that they want to buy. Let's add in 100 grams and then 300 grams. And then 500 grams. And you can see that I'm separating these with this pipe character. I'm going to select the use for variations. That'll allow customers to actually select these. And then I'm going to save that. I can head now to variations and select the option to create variations from all of our attributes. So this is going to create three different variations, because we have a 100 gram, a 300 gram, and a 500 gram option. Now you'll want to open up each one of these and give it a price. So our 100 gram option will be the cheapest, so let's give that a $5 price. Let's give the 300 gram option the price of $7, and the 500 gram option the price of $10. If you were doing something that required different images, like for example, you had a t-shirt and it was different colors, you could add in an image for each of these variations. And when the user would select the variation, the image would change out. You can also select the weight and the dimensions, which again, if you are using an extension to calculate the shipping rates, this would be very important. Let's update our product here and see how that changes our front end. That should be saved now. So let's refresh our page. And we can see that now we have a weight option for the user. So they can select 3 different options, and you can see that the price changes accordingly. Because we did the setup wizard, all of the required pages for WooCommerce are already set. So I can add this to the cart, I can check out, Now we can move on to setting up shipping and payment on our site. WooCommerce comes default with a number of free core payment options. WooCommerce Payments is available for stores operating in the US and is a powerful option to be able to control all aspects of accepting payments right from within the WooCommerce dashboard. There's over 100 other payment gateway options, many tailored to specific countries, so finding a payment gateway that works for your specific needs has never been easier. This next list item may be different depending on where you're located. If you remember in our setup, we set our store to be located in the United States, so by default the recommended payment gateway is WooCommerce Payments. If I would click on this, it'll open up a screen where I could put in my details to connect Stripe to my account. I'm going to show you now if you'd like to enable other payment gateways. You can head to Settings under WooCommerce in our left-hand sidebar here, and then head to the Payments tab. From here, you'll be able to see a list of all of the core payment gateway options. You can see that we have WooCommerce Payments, we also have Cash on Delivery, and we also have PayPal and Stripe. PayPal will allow you to accept PayPal and credit cards. Stripe will allow you to accept credit card payments on your site. If I would click on the setup, if I already have a Stripe account, it'll show me an option to connect my Stripe account to my store. Same with PayPal. If I don't have either of those created, it'll guide me through creating an account. For the moment, I'm just going to select Cash on Delivery. This one is really handy if you're just setting up your store and you want to focus on, your products and getting your cart and checkout all tested out, because this one doesn't require you to put in any, live credit card information or anything to test out orders. Stripe and PayPal and any other payment gateway would also have a testing account that you could use, but this one's the easiest to set up if you're just getting started. If you'd like to explore other extensions, you can click on the Extensions tab here, and then Payments. And there's many different payment gateways, many specific to countries that you can explore in here. If you click on one of these, again, it'll activate that extension on your site and you'll be able to set that up to accept payments through that payment gateway. WooCommerce allows you to either set up manual tax rates or use one of many WooCommerce extensions to automatically calculate sales tax. The next thing we'll want to set up on our store is taxes. When we went through the setup wizard, a plugin was installed to actually automatically calculate our taxes for us, and that's called the WooCommerce Shipping and Tax plugin. Because of that, I'm able to just activate taxes pretty much with one click here by clicking the Add Tax option here. If I select this, it will automatically start to calculate sales tax on my site. This is available for me because I am setting up a store in the US. This plugin is available for merchants in the US, Canada, Australia, and the European Union. There's also other tax extensions that you can research. So that would be under Extensions again, and you can search in here for tax, and a number of them will appear that you could add to your store. Another way that you can set this up is manually. So if you head to Settings, and right now it's enabled by default. So we can look at the Tax tab. And right now it's set to enable automated taxes. I could disable that, and then I could set in a bunch, tax rates and control all of this manually. This can get fairly complex. So if you can, I would always enable automated taxes or use an extension to do this. But if you would like to do it manually, we have a really good documentation on WooCommerce for everything on the plugin. But for taxes specifically, you can go up to Get Started and Sell Products. And then we can select the Setting Up Taxes in WooCommerce. And this is a complete guide that will show you what all of those settings will do. By default, WooCommerce calculates shipping by zones, which you can configure manually. There are a number of extensions as well that provide live shipping rates based on weight, product dimensions, and shipping distance. The next thing that we'll want to set up is shipping. I can use the built-in guide here, and that will allow me to create one zip shipping zone, but I'd like to show you how you can set them up a little bit more manually by heading again back to our settings here in our left-hand sidebar, and then to the shipping tab. Here we can see that we don't have any set up yet. So we're going to want to click the button to add a shipping zone. And here we can give it a name. I'm going to name this shipping zone local. And let's limit this to only people that are within my zip code specifically. Here we'll be able to add a shipping method. So let's say that people that are within, walking distance of my coffee shop, they can just come and pick it up for free. So that's what this zip code is saying right now. Okay, so that's all saved now. Let's go back to our shipping zones. And now let's add in a shipping zone for just California. Here we can add in another name. Let's add in California. And here we can, because we are selling in the US, we can just type in California and that will pop up, California. And here let's add a flat rate of $5. So to do that, we're going to edit and we're going to put $5 for the cost of this flat rate here. Okay, so that's all saved. Okay, so now we have somebody that's in our specific zip code here. They'll be able to do local pickup. California people will be able to have a $5 shipping. And now let's add one more for national people that are ordering from the rest of the United States. So here we're just going to put the United States. We can just select that. And let's add another flat rate here. And let's say that for anyone outside of our local zone, our California zone, they will be charged $10. Okay, so now these are in the exact order that we want them to be. We want these to be from most specific to least specific. So if somebody is in our store and they order from this specific zip code, they'll only be shown the local pickup. And so you'll want to, you can drag these and reorder these if you want to, but for the moment, this is the order that we want them to be. Right now, I only want to ship to people that are in the United States. So we'll just say no shipping is allowed for anybody outside of these three zones. There's other extensions that you can use that will calculate all of this automatically for you. You can use these. Again, remember in our products, we said that if you want to use those, you'll want to set the weight and the length of the product, because those extensions will use those to determine how much things cost. And then you'll also want to make sure that in your general setting here, your where your store is located is set, because that's very important, because the extensions need to know from where things will be shipped from. There's lots of more complicated scenarios that you can set up with shipping, with shipping classes, for example. And so I would encourage you again to look at our WooCommerce docs. We have a whole section just on shipping, and these will go into, great detail on how you can set up different shipping on your site. WooCommerce extends the default block editor with blocks that dynamically display products in a wide range of formats. So the last item in our setup dashboard here is to personalize our store. And that has some nice tips about creating a homepage, uploading a logo, and setting a store notice. You can feel free to go through those. And you can see that by just going through this dashboard list here, we've been able to set up the majority of our store. We've added in our store details, added in a product, set up payments, added in a tax rate, and set up shipping costs. Let's look at the current state of our store now. And you can see that not a lot has changed since we've done all of that on our back end. Let's add in our store to a menu item here. And then let's add in a few more products to our homepage here using some new blocks that have been added to our site. So to add in that menu item, we'll go to Appearance and Customize. And this is where we can control a lot of the global settings of our site, such as the menu and the header and the footer and things like that. So here we're going to want to head to our menus item and add in our shop page, which was created by default when we went through the setup wizard. So I'm going to save that change. And now on our site, if we refresh, we can see our shop page will be displaying our 3 products that we've created. And if I would click on one of these, I'd be able to see everything that we added in. We added in the description, we added in our variable products here, and we added in a price. The last thing I want to show you is how to add some specific WooCommerce blocks, and we're going to add those into our home page. So let's head over here to Pages and to our homepage that we already had set up, but let's make it a little bit more specific to a store now. So here I'm going to add in a WooCommerce block. If you know the name of the block, you can use our modal here, but if you want a better idea of even what's available, I suggest using the block selector in the upper left-hand corner. So for example, if I just type in Woo, all of the WooCommerce specific blocks will appear. So if I wanted to show all of my products, I could do that. There's a number of specific WooCommerce blocks that are in here, and a lot of them are very, very useful. I'm going to add in the handpicked products one. We only have 3 products, so that's fairly easy to select. So I'm just going to select those 3 products. And what's great about this is that it's all dynamic. You know, as I'm going through adding products, all of these blocks will adapt to that. So now I have my 3 products on my home page, and then maybe I could add in a button to direct users to my shop page, for example. I could say something like view all products, and then I could add in a link to my shop page. And that'll just pop up because that's the name of my page. So I'm going to update that. And now let's come back to our store. Let's look at what our home page looks like. So now we've got our 3 products appearing. I could go and view all of my products, and that'll bring us to our shop, which, you know, if we would add more products, they would appear there. And now let's actually go through and just have a dummy purchase. So let's select a variation. So let's do the $7 one and add that to the cart. And again, with that setup wizard that we went through, our cart page was created by default. So that's all set up. We didn't need to manually create any of this. And then our checkout page is going to be created automatically as well. So we could go through here now and just fill out some, just some details for that. Let's select, the US. How about we do something that's not in our most local zone? So how about we do a Sacramento address? And I'm just going to plug in those details here. So Sacramento, put in my zip code, there, put in my phone number for all these required fields, and I'm just going to put in a dummy email address there. Okay, so we can see now that everything has been calculated for us. So we have our default price, we have the shipping, which we set before for our customers in California, which is a flat rate of $5, and our taxes being calculated as well, because this is an in-state purchase. So I am just going to select the cash on delivery. That's, again, if you're testing things out on your site, that's a really nice one to use. If we would have a WooCommerce payments selected, we'd be able to put in a credit card here as well. Same with PayPal or any payment gateway that you'd select. So let's place our order here. And we can see that the order has been received, and this is what the user would be seeing at their end. They would get an email about this. And then on our end, we can head back to our dashboard here. And if we go into WooCommerce, now we'll be able to see that we have an order appearing there. So we can go into our orders, open that up, and here we can see all of the details that we need for our order. So if we wanted to, print a shipping label, we'd be able to do that because we have that plugin enabled, and we're able to see everything that we need to process this order now on our end. So there you have it, with fairly minimal effort and just going through the steps that we provide, we're able to make a complete e-commerce store on WordPress.com. By default, WooCommerce enables you to sell products, accept payments, and manage orders. There are hundreds of extensions available as well to tailor WooCommerce to your specific needs. Using these extensions, any store is possible with WooCommerce. Before fully launching your store, I'd recommend taking some time to go through each of these tabs at WooCommerce settings. There's a lot of advanced customization options that are available from within these tabs. So for example, you can select and alter the emails that are going out to yourself and to customers. All of these are customizable. You can also change some settings around accounts to allow users to use a guest checkout or to force them to make an account when they go through the checkout. There's a lot of other options that are available within these tabs, and if you ever get lost or confused, I'd recommend heading over to docs.woocommerce.com, and we have documentation on all of the settings for WooCommerce, and this is a great place to familiarize yourself with all of those settings. As you're customizing your site, you may notice that you want to extend the default functionality of WooCommerce, and you can easily do that from the Extensions tab. In here, you can add in any extensions that you need for your store. If you'd like to learn more about any of the extensions, if you head over to WooCommerce.com and look at our marketplace, you'll be able to see more information about each extension before adding it to your store. If you click on each extension, you'll be able to see a little bit more information about that and also view the documentation for each extension before deciding to purchase. We're going to spend the rest of the webinar now answering your questions, so please let us know in the Q&A option in Zoom how we can help you today.